For the opening minute, let's cut straight to the truth. Wood rots, it warps, it swells, and it crumbles when exposed to water, frost and time. Yet the Vikings, people often imagined living in constant struggle with the elements, managed to build homes, ships, fences and tools that lasted decades, even centuries. Their secret wasn't luck, nor was it superior timber. It was a method so practical and effective that it became standard across northern Europe, yet today it is largely forgotten. This method allowed Vikings to turn ordinary softwoods like pine and spruce into structures that could withstand relentless rain, snow, and seasonal freeze-thaw cycles. Understanding and applying this technique can transform the durability of modern outdoor timber, from garden posts to tool handles. The Vikings' approach was not complicated, but it required knowledge of fire, resin, and time-tested chemistry. The Viking method begins with slow heating that strengthens the wood's core. One of the most overlooked aspects of Viking construction is their use of controlled heat to harden timber before it ever became part of a structure or tool. Softwood naturally contains moisture, sap, and cellular material that fungi and insects feed on. Left untreated, it rots quickly. Vikings avoided this by slowly heating wood over low, steady fire or hot embers, enough to evaporate water and crystallize natural resins without burning the fibers. This process strengthens the grain, reduces shrinkage, and creates a base layer of resistance against moisture. Archaeological finds in Scandinavia, including boat planks and stave church components, show timbers with this kind of slow-fired hardening still intact after hundreds of years. To replicate this, take your timber and place it near embers or a low flame source. The heat should be gradual and uniform. Rotate the wood periodically, watching for darkening and resin exudation on the surface. Avoid flames that scorch the wood, as the Vikings knew that the key was patience, not intensity. After heating, the timber is more rigid, less absorbent, and far more resistant to rot. Vikings used natural resins to protect wood from water and decay. Once heat had hardened the wood, the next step involved resin, extracted from pine and fir trees. This was the true secret weapon against rot. Resin penetrates the wood's fibers, filling cellular voids and forming a barrier against water and fungal spores. In shipbuilding, the Vikings applied this resin to planks before assembly. In house construction, tool handles and beams received a similar treatment. The resin hardened over time, creating a semi-mineral shell that repelled moisture while remaining flexible enough to absorb stress from temperature and humidity changes. Today, anyone can use this method. Pine resin is available in many regions, or it can be collected directly from living trees. Heat the resin slightly until it becomes viscous and brush or rub it into preheated, dried wood. For outdoor posts, garden tools, or primitive shelters, the process drastically extends the life of the timber. Unlike synthetic sealants, resin strengthens the wood from within, rather than simply coating it. Submerging wood in mineral-rich or tannin-rich water, really enhanced its durability. The Vikings, they didn't stop with just heat and resin. Sometimes they would submerge posts or tools in bog water or streams that were rich in tannins, iron or clay. This, in a way, was a natural form of mineral infusion. The water carried compounds that penetrated the wood, reinforcing the fibers and making them, honestly, much less hospitable to decay. Bog-preserved stakes, beams, and ship timbers recovered by archaeologists show us that the combination of heat, resin, and mineral-rich soaking produced wood that survived for centuries in wet soil. Modern enthusiasts can actually replicate this process with readily available materials. Tannin-rich water can be made by boiling oak bark, acorns, or chestnut. Then simply submerge heat-treated, resin-coated wood in this water for several days or even weeks. The wood will darken and harden further, producing long-lasting outdoor timber that's suitable for fence posts, garden beds, or small cabins. Sealing the treated wood, well, that completed the Viking anti-rot method. Finally, the Vikings often applied a thin layer of tar, pitch, or animal fat to seal the treated wood. This step locked the resin and mineral infusion into the fibres, creating a surface barrier against moisture and pests. This was especially critical for parts of ships exposed to salt water or house beams that came into contact with damp soil. The sealing layer was thin enough to allow the wood to breathe while still repelling water. For modern application, after heating, resin treatment and mineral soaking, simply apply a coat of pine tar, linseed oil or boiled animal fat. Allow it to penetrate fully and reapply if necessary. The combination of heat, resin, mineral infusion and sealing reproduces the Viking effect, producing timber that is, frankly, significantly more durable than untreated wood. The Viking method really demonstrates that simple natural processes can outperform many modern treatments. This technique shows the ingenuity of Viking craftsmen who relied entirely on observation, resourcefulness, and locally available materials. They understood that water is the enemy of wood, and they devised a multi-step system that hardened, fortified, and protected their timber. The method does require effort and patience, but it rewards with longevity unmatched by modern chemical treatments. Anyone building outdoor structures, crafting tools, or working with timber in wet environments can adopt this Viking method. Start with slow heating, follow with resin treatment, soak in tannin-rich water if possible, and finish with a sealing layer. The wood will resist rot, insects, and weather far longer than untreated material. If you value ancient craftsmanship and practical survival skills that stand the test of time, do consider subscribing to Echoes of Valor. Share this video with fellow enthusiasts so we can keep these forgotten methods alive and continue learning from the techniques of our ancestors.